Time for another episode of Day Drinking in Tarot, and today we are in Phoenix in the Biltmore area, and we are checking out a place called Tarbell's Wine Store. Secret, I've kind of been here before, but not at the wine store itself. I actually was at the restaurant and was hoping to get into the restaurant, but it's not open yet. So we're going to check out the wine store. Let's talk a little transformation, some tarot, and get some day drinking in. Come and join me. So I am here at Tarbell's Tavern, and I have a fun little story about this restaurant. But first of all, I just want to say I am super pumped. I have a fabulous bartender who is so game to play this game and to pick something out for us for this particular card. So stay tuned. We are going to have some serious fun. But Tarbell's Tavern is really interesting. Tarbell's has a restaurant. I didn't know this, I just learned this today. It has a restaurant, a tavern, and a wine store. And I was introduced to Tarbell's, the restaurant, a little over a year ago when I first landed here in Phoenix on my journey, my Phoenix journey, and moved here to Phoenix, Arizona. And my mom and I came to Tarbell's for a birthday dinner because we were celebrating a birthday at the 2-week window of time that she was here helping me out with the move. And we had such a fantastic time. I swear to God, it was like they thought I was royalty and they treated me as such, and they'd never met me before, greeting me at the door and, offering me samples of things. And, we couldn't decide on what we wanted to order. So she ordered one thing, I ordered another. And there was a third option that I was looking at. They ended up making it for us without us even asking, didn't even charge us. I mean, it was the royal treatment, and talk about VIP experience. So when I was connecting to this episode's card, which by the way, it's the judgment card. We're gonna have a lot of fun with this. I really wanted to pick a place that symbolizes making changes, making choices, having decisions to make, and decisions that are going to maybe shift up where things are going and growing in your life. And I thought, wow, Tarbell's would be great because of the history that I have with it. They don't open until 5, so it wouldn't fit into the day drinking and tarot component of what we do. But I saw that they had a wine store. And I thought, well, this is perfect because I can go into the wine store and I can, sing them my song, tell them my tale, and have them pick out a beautiful bottle of wine. Little did I know that it's actually a second restaurant, and it is the Tavern. Excited to be here as we talk about the judgment card. The judgment card is a really interesting card in the Fool's Journey, the major arcana of the tarot, because it is coming in at number 21. We started off with 0, the Fool, and the Fool's Journey takes us all the way through to Judgment, and then the final card, which is going to be a surprise for our final episode. But this is the Fool Journey, where the Fool recognizes, okay, I've been here and done that, bought the t-shirt on all of this stuff. I've learned so much on this journey. I've changed, I've grown, I've gone through a tower moment, I've gone through death, I've gone through the devil, I've experienced temperance, I've gone through all of it. And the Judgment card comes up to say, all right, you've got a decision to make. Are you going to answer the call? We often see these figures depicted that are coming out of a coffin, and a lot of people get nervous about this because they're like, oh my God, like zombies, vampires, people coming out of a coffin. It's not about that. Just like when we talked about the death card, it's not necessarily about death. It's a reawakening. It's coming to. It's the angel sounding the trumpet and saying, hey, you've finished, you've arrived at, a particular choice point in your life. The choice point is, do I stay or do I go? Have I learned all the lessons that I wanted to learn at this point? Or am I needing one more kick at the can? Do I need to go through another process, another cycle, to really feel like I understand what I'm supposed to learn in this? Or stick a fork in me, I'm done. I am ready for something new and something different. I'm ready for the next adventure. I'm ready to answer the call. It is decision making, but it's decision making in a big way. So let's see what Mike has picked out for us today in terms of a wine that represents all of the characteristics of very excited. Mike picked out a Bourgogne, and this is from Burgundy, France, and it is the Thévenet et Fille, and it is a Pinot Noir of 2022. And what he explained to me with this Pinot Noir is the reason why he chose it is that it represents something a little bit different. The option to say, okay, I want a Pinot. Most American restaurants are going to offer you an American Pinot, a Napa Valley Pinot. They're going to go with a California wine. And he said, I liked the idea and was inspired by what you said with the card, at the idea that I could do something a bit different. I could acknowledge that, I've learned something new and I could apply that wisdom that I've learned from this previous experience and kind of go out on a limb and try something new. But I don't have to go out on a crazy limb. It's not having to reinvent the wheel, but it is about being open to a new adventure, trying something new and different. So let's see what this Bourgogne is going to taste like. And when we're talking about, again, that judgment card, answering the call, recognizing that I've come to the end of something. Am I ready to let it go? Am I ready to say goodbye and to jump into the new adventure? Or do I want to make the decision to stay? And I feel like that's really important. So let's have a first sip and see what we get. Okay, so this was a note that he gave me as well, and now I'm totally understanding. He picked this also because it's very fruit forward. So the idea that there's something delicious and ripe, something sweet that we get to lean into. And for a Pinot, I would say this is a heftier Pinot. It's not a full-bodied wine. I am tasting that beautiful fruit forward, those beautiful fruit forward notes. I'm also tasting it in the front of the mouth, the front of the palate. And I feel like that's important when we are talking about judgment, making judgments, making decisions. We need to experience it kind of from all layers and levels, but we need to see what is it presenting to me, fruit forward, front forward. What is the first impression that I'm getting around this choice, this option? There's something new and something different that's being presented to me. How do I feel on first blush? Now, let's take a second sip. Okay, and the second sip is really delicious. It warms up and it fills the entire mouth. I'm tasting a little bit of, it's not pepper, I'm tasting almost like a vanilla and cinnamon, a vanilla and cinnamon, a vanilla and cinnamon that is coming off of the second sip. And I like this because it does have a little bit of sweetness. It's saying, hey, there's sweet and spicy involved in here. It's not overly sweet, it's not overly spicy. This is an opportunity for you to make a decision, make a choice to step into something new and different without having to, I want to say, be in the extreme of things. Because when we are, by the time we reach the judgment card, we've had enough of extremes. We're kind of coming out the other side trying to make sense of all of the shifts and changes that have occurred. So let's take our third sip and see what comes up. By the way, the aroma of this is it's phenomenal. It smells like velvet to me. It doesn't taste like velvet. It doesn't have a texture of velvet, but it smells like velvet, if that makes any sense at all. Who knows what velvet smells like, but there you go. So third sip, I'm now feeling it at the back of the throat. It's inviting. It's not, I want to say, super smooth. But I think whenever we are in a judgment phase, when we are getting ready to make a decision, to step into something new, there is trepidation. We do have hesitation. We're often afraid of what is to come. Less so about what is in our past, although the past can influence the fears and the anxieties that we have around it. But I feel like it is kind of that fear of what's to come. And I feel like this Pinot is really kind of commenting on that, saying, yeah, the journey is not guaranteed to be all sunshine and daisies, wine and rainbows, but it does have a number of different components in it. It's going to be complex, especially if you are applying the wisdom of what you have learned in this previous Phoenix cycle that you've been through and how you're going to move forward. So I would say Mike chose well. Thank you, Mike, for doing us a solid and getting us the perfect wine for this. I order for some exquisite butternut squash risotto, which I'm very excited to try with this delicious Pinot. And let's kind of talk now about the judgment card. And forgive me, it's got nudity on it, and YouTube is getting a little finicky about nudity. So I'm just going to cover up all the dirty bits, and here we go. So when we're talking about that judgment card in terms of how that applies to transformation, how that applies to us on our own daily journeys, we come into judgment often. I mean, every day we have multiple different choices that we are faced with making. The judgment card is one of those decisions that's kind of a big deal. You know, I'm hearing my ex's voice in my head. It's a BFD. It's a big effing deal, right? And it's because it affects your entire life moving forward, right? It is a big shift and a big change in terms of where you've been and where you're going. And I often talk about the 5 phases of the phoenix burning, the phoenix growing, phoenix emerging, phoenix rising, and phoenix soaring. And this card is the Phoenix Emerging card. And here's what the Phoenix Emerging is all about. It's the birth canal. This is the card that says, okay, I've been floating around in the Phoenix growing phase for a while. I've been floating around in the womb, and I'm kind of starting to outgrow it. And the angel says, hey, have you seen that little light at the end of the tunnel? And you're like, ooh, no, I didn't know that was there. And the angel says, oh, well, if you follow that, maybe it's going to give you a better sense of what you're pursuing next, what is next to come, what your next options are to choose. And so you're like, well, yeah, I'm sick and tired of being stuck. I'm sick and tired of being in wait mode, pause and breathe and surrender. So yeah, I'm going to go after that light. And that light doesn't necessarily give you, I want to say, the full picture. You know, it's not going to show you exactly who you are. It's not going to show you all the things and the stuff. It's going to give you just a taste. It's going to inspire you. And the whole purpose of it is so that you get into that birth canal tunnel. And then once you get in, you go, wait a second. This is icky and sticky and ooey and gooey. And oh my God, I want my money back. You know, can I go back into the womb? And the angel says, oh, I'm so sorry. It was a one-way ticket, but just keep going. You'll be fine. You got this. And so this is a phase that really indicates a lot of that push-pull. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. It's also the kind of energy where you're going to have a lot of contraction before you have expansion. And that's a really important part of the judgment card in general, is when you pull it in a reading, when you are experiencing it in real life, it's not going to say that everything's going to be smooth. It's going to say, hey, the birthing process can be a bit uncomfortable. But when you have major contraction because you're about to go big, you contract because you're like, I'm trying to protect myself. I don't know what is to come. I'm a little fearful of the unknown, the mystery. Maybe it'll be too big for me to handle. Maybe I don't have the right support or the right foundation or the right platform, to be able to handle what is coming my way. Maybe I'm stepping into a journey that I never thought I would be on. And so we can contract and make ourselves very small. But on the other side of it, as we know with the birthing process, is you can contract for a little bit, but then eventually when that lets go, because what goes up must come down and vice versa, that contraction turns into a huge expansion. You move forward in leaps and bounds. And in that movement forward in leaps and bounds, there's a lot of learning. Yes, there are going to be, I want to say, rest spots in between these contractions and this expansion. It's not an easy road, doing a judgment journey and birthing this new version of yourself that you in the Phoenix burning phase say goodbye to is not always easy. It's certainly not comfortable, but it has those moments of pleasantness, those moments of inspiration and excitement for the new adventure at hand. And if you allow yourself to go into that space, if you allow yourself to say, I don't know everything about this. I don't know how this is going to be. I don't even know who I'm going to be on the other side of this. But I know that I don't want to stay where I'm at anymore. I can't stay where I'm at. I've shifted and changed so much that I've outgrown that version of me. And so now it's time to grow into this new version of me. And the beauty about judgment is we have to have discernment. Judgment can bring about discernment. And it's the most important thing to remember when you are in this phase of the Phoenix, when you are in this act of transformation. You are in control of the experience that you wish to have. This is all about co-creation. There is nothing about this judgment card that says you're on your own. This is, have you answered the call? The angel says, ooh, okay, you've surpassed a milestone. You beat the boss battle and you're ready to go to that next level. But if you're not actually ready to go to that next level, you have the option to say that and to say, you know what? I want to have one more kick at the can. I want to do this one more time before I actually, fully commit to this next journey and this next adventure. So I don't know that I necessarily have a specific story in mind about my own transformational journey here in Phoenix that represents this, other than to say that there have been many choices since I've been here that I have had to face and say, all right, I have no idea where to live. I have no idea what section of the city is a good place to go. I have no idea what restaurants are amazing or not. I mean, thank God for Google and Yelp and, all these things that, that we can do a little bit of research and, in a 30-second or a 1-minute search, you've got the world at your fingertips. But it really is an adventure. And I feel like when we are talking about discernment, when we're talking about this card, discernment also means tapping into your spidey senses and trusting that the universe is going to give you what it is that you need. That the universe is going to present you with a number of different options. And it's okay for you to not be sure what those options are and to take things slow, to take things one thing at a time. But most importantly, I would say in my own transformational journey to get here and just in life in general, it's all about letting go of the fear of the unknown. Look at the card. It's an angel that is heeding the call. It's the angel that is presenting the opportunity. How can you feel unsafe when it's an angel that's presenting the opportunity, right? It is our judgments, our fears that we place upon ourselves that creates the fear, the anxiety, the, oh my God, the trepidation around the unknown. But if we look at it from the perspective of, this is my journey in my life, and there are so many options, And I'm getting to say, I want this option. And then I can have this option. And then maybe I can have this option over here. When you give yourself permission to experiment and to explore, then you move into that Phoenix Rising space, which is the Fool card. And of course, we've already talked about the Fool journey. If you're just, fresh and new to me, definitely go back and watch the entire series, because you'll get the whole Fool's journey from beginning to end, which is great, and you get a sense of that. But judgment really is about, are you ready to say yes to your life? Are you ready to say yes to the breath in your body and the blood pumping in your veins? Are you ready to say yes to the adventure and all that life has to offer? Because it's only you that stands in your way. And that's the truth of it. Your life, are you maybe being given the call and maybe not answering it? Where are you putting off the adventure, being afraid to make decisions for yourself because you're afraid you can't trust your intuition or your spidey senses, or you're listening to that ego voice that says, don't you remember what happened last time when? Where are you in your life ready to expand and to take the leap? And it's not a leap of faith. That's the Fool card. The Judgment card says, are you ready to acknowledge all of your learning at this point? And are you ready to put it into practice? Because that truly is how we grow and get to the next level. And yeah, if you think about it, if we, work backwards, we started with the Fool card. The Fool is the new journey where you're just like, woohoo! Well, the Judgment card indicates that you're facing another Fool's journey if you choose to accept it. So you want to keep in mind, I just got through this last Fool's journey. I didn't know hoot from toot about anything when I started it, but yet here I am right now. And I'm at a place where the angels and guides are saying, you're ready, but do you think you're ready? So where in your life can you stir up some of the courage, some of the bravery, and a whole whack of the wisdom to be able to say, yes, I'm ready to answer the call in my life. I'm ready to go big or go home. Or if that, doesn't resonate with you, I'm ready to try something new. I'm ready to learn about myself, this new version of me, truly, madly, and deeply. I'm ready to fall in love with this new version of me. And I can't wait to answer the call. This is a segment that is all for my fellow starseeds, light workers, sensitives, healers, empaths. Get into my happy place and channel one of the archangels. We are going to pull a feather from the feather jar and let's see what the energies want us to know. We are talking about the psychic realm. Color is yet another tool that can help us. This is really all about going beyond the predictiveness of readings. Shalom, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to this segment of Black Feather Couture, Divining a VIP Life, where we are pulling a feather from the feather jar. And let's see what our guides want to tell us about this week. And I can tell you already, this week I feel is kind of full of friction. I feel that there's a lot of frictional energy that's coming up and coming through. And so it's important for us, I feel, to really pay attention to our self-care, what it is that we're going to need in order to, navigate the friction and the tension. And, I love it. We pulled a pink feather. It's kind of hurting a little bit. It's not in good shape, but we have oneness.
And it's interesting that it's on a pink feather, because pink is one half of the heart chakra. This is the unconditional love, self-love, self-care, self-compassion, self-forgiveness piece. So just as I was talking about that self-love and self-care energy, we have a pink feather. So definitely focus on the self, what the self needs, not what the self wants. Not that it's not like put your wants completely to the side, but don't make your wants your priority, make your needs your priority. And I feel like that is, when we're talking needs, it's the, ask your mind, what does my mind need? My mental health need? What does my heart need? What does my soul need? What do my finances need? What is my, what do I need within my community? You want to go down the sort of the list, right? The mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, energetic, financial. You want to go through that list to see what it is that you're actually needing, and then to take it a step further and to give you what it is that you need. Now, the word oneness, and I feel like this is the message from our guides. Oneness really involves this concept of what happens to you happens to me. When you're going through something, I'm going through it too, on a different level, right? I might not, that's the sympathy versus the empathy component of things. Sympathy means I understand because I've been through what you've been through. Empathy is, oh my God, I have so much compassion for you. That must be awful. I can only imagine. How can I help? And I feel like when we're dealing with this oneness, I talk about this a lot in my social media clips, is this idea that it is the ripple effect, or a lot of people talk about the butterfly effect. You throw a little pebble in the pond, and if you think about it, like picture a pond that you can see all of it in its totality, and you take this tiny little pebble, it's a nothing pebble, and you toss it, somewhat into the center of the pond, and you watch the ripples that come out. That tiny little pebble that you tossed in there, the ripple eventually hits the edge of the pond, and it hits the edge going outwards, right? It's the same thing with our energetic field. We have an energy field that goes out, anywhere from like 30 to 32 feet in all directions around us. Picture Bubble Boy, right? Bubble Boy or Bubble Girl. You are surrounded in this sphere of energy, and everything that comes at you, everything that happens, it's a ripple effect. It comes into you, and it might, go through different layers to reach you, but it still reaches you. It still affects your feelings and emotions, just like that pebble in the pond. So when we take this concept of oneness, it means that what happens to me is going to affect you, and what happens to you is going to affect me. Whether we choose to be conscious of it or not is the story, right? That's the whole point. And so this week, I feel like, as you're watching this video, it's an invitation for you to step out of the, I want to say, the individualistic energy that we often live in. I, me, mine. What is happening to me? What am I feeling? How am I choosing to contribute to the world? What do I need to be doing? I. And step more into the space of, when I make this choice, when I take this action, what are the effects it's going to have with the people, or on the people in my life? What effect is this going to have on the collective? Because I am maybe a tiny pebble in comparison to the rest of the world, but that pebble gets tossed into the pond, and it does eventually reach everyone to some degree. So this oneness, I feel, is coming up to say, go within, take a look at your needs, address your needs, because when your needs are addressed, you're also teaching others how they can address their needs. And when our needs are addressed, when our love cups are full and overflowing, then we have so much more to offer out and about in the rest of the world. And we can be more connected to that oneness piece and that oneness energy. And also, I feel like the invitation here with oneness is also just to choose awareness of that. You might say, okay, I'm aware of the fact that my choices matter and that they are going to affect, whether indirectly or directly, they are going to affect other people that are around me. That's just the way it is. And it's not that I have to make a decision to try and please everybody in my environment. This isn't about people pleasing. It's about recognizing that the choices that I'm making now, the actions that I'm making right now, are going to have an effect. What kind of an effect do I want to have? And that is how we can base our decision making. That's how we can base our choices. And I'm going to say, take it a step further, especially for those of you people pleasers out there who are like, oh my God, that's just too much to handle, too much responsibility on me. And so now I'm frozen and I don't know how to make a choice. You call in your angels and guides and you say, I understand this concept of oneness. Like, I see it. I'm aware of it. Now, help me to make the choice that is going to be for the highest and best of everyone involved. And your guides guaranteed are always going to come back to you got to follow your heart. Do what you feel is best for you. Because again, when your love cup is full and overflowing, then you have so much more to give, so much more to offer. It is our energy temperature check. Where are we at energetically in the collective? Are we mild, medium, hot, or extra spicy? It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
I want my temperature check.
Hello all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and it is that energy temperature check time. It is getting hot in here. And what I'm feeling in this particular energy of our lives right now, where we're all at in this moment, is I'm feeling that we are medium spice. And I feel like we are medium spice because there's been a lot of heat, a lot of extra spice, like triple XL spice. And I feel like our bodies, our minds, our souls are all just kind of like, give me a break. I need a little checkup. I just need to check out for a minute. I just need to be neutral. And that's why I feel this medium spice energy is coming up, because there's still a lot that's going on and going around us. But it's that energy of saying, okay, I just need a little time out. I feel like it's important for each of us to give ourselves that timeout space as well, because when you don't, when you continue to ignore what the body is trying to get you to do, you run into trouble. And this is where I like to say we can get a universal frying pan to the head, right? And none of us needs that, right? Ain't nobody got time for that, is what I want to say. But what we do have time for is, let's get out in nature a little bit, or let's schedule that vacation. Let's schedule that time to just chillax. For some of you, I feel this is going to be a really good time for you to do those things around the house that are like niggling at you. You got that list, the laundry list of things to do, and it drives you nuts that you haven't gotten them done. This would be a good time to kind of clean out the spring closet, right? To check some things, some major things off of the to-do list. This isn't about making busy work. And I'm going to say to you, not everyone needs to, do the spring cleaning and clean out the closet. Some of you really do need to get the hell out of Dodge and go away for the weekend somewhere and not bring your phone, right? Or, not bring your technology. Do your best to stay off the technology as much as you can. But for those of you who, you've had a lot of things happening in your life and all of the other things and the stuff have been piling up, this is a great time to knock that off the to-do list. And a big part of that is because there is so much energy right now around, I want to say, pressure cooker. We've all, actually, that's the great, a great analogy for what we've all been feeling like. We're all in the pressure cooker, or I like to say we're all in the soup. The soup is at a rolling boil. right? And you see the onion bobbing there, and then you see the carrot going around, and like then there's the tomatoes and there's the spices, and it's all percolating, right? It's all cooking and blending. But man, oh man, while it is doing that, while it is all trying to come together, it is really, really hot. And sometimes it's just too hot to handle. So that medium spice says, go out, go and live life, take advantage of what is out here, but make it so that you're not sitting in that stew. Make it so that you are recognizing, okay, that still is my reality. That still is there. It's going to be there if I take 3 days off for myself, or it's going to be there, the next day after I've taken a couple of hours to, clean out that cupboard, or to wash the car, to wash out the car, clean out the car, all of those to-do list things. So I encourage you to see this medium spice temperature as a way to be a little more neutral. Don't get too worked up. You're not looking for a real high here. You're also not looking to feel the real low. And I feel like this is all an invitation. That medium spice is an invitation to get out and just enjoy life for what life has to offer. All the other stuff can wait. I hope that makes some sense to you guys. Thank you so much for connecting with me today for It's Getting Hot in Here. And trust me, you are not alone. We are all in this together. So get your butts out, go and do something fun. All the rest can wait, and really enjoy the medium flavor, because medium is great. It gives us a lot of spice. It gives us a lot of flavor without a lot of heat. So let's take the heat off a little bit. All right, guys, until we see each other for another segment of Black Feather Couture Defining a VIP Life, I will see you on the flip side, and transform well. It is our energy temperature check. Where are we at energetically in the collective? Are we mild, medium, hot, or extra spicy? It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
I want my temperature check.